The top of page 49, I think that's 49, is actually just a review of chords you did on previous pages. There are 3 different ways to name the chords that you see in this picture. At the top it shows you Roman numerals, and those are based on where the root note of the chord shows up in the scale. We're working with C major, so we have a C scale, and so C is note 1, F is note 4, and G is note 5. So that's where those Roman numerals or numbers come from. Another way to name them is by calling them the tonic, the subdominant, and the dominant. And again, that is also based on where in the scale those notes show up. The 4th note of any scale is called the subdominant, and the 5th note is called the dominant, and the 1st note is called tonic, as in tone, as in this is the tone of the scale. So we already covered this on previous pages. Now, farther down the page, there is a chord with 4 notes stacked up, and there's an arrow pointing to the top one that says added minor 7th. Don't worry too much about the word minor in there. The important thing to notice is this note is the 7th interval up from the root note. So they're showing you here a G chord because the root note of it is G, and then it's got a B and a D in it like you would expect a G chord. And the B is a 3rd up from the root, the D is a 5th up from the root, and the F is a 7th up from the root. So we call this chord a 7th chord. And there's also the word dominant 7th because this is based on G or G chord, which is the dominant or dominant chord of C major. So we can call it a dominant 7th. We can also call it a G 7th. G7, we just say G7. Okay, now farther down the page, it shows you 4 different chords, and these are just inversions of that dominant 7th, aka G7 chord. Notice that just one of the 4 notes gets moved by an octave, and you get a rearrangement of the chord, but it's still the same chord. They look quite a bit different, but they're just rearrangements, and in music called inversions. So these are 4 possibilities for the 7th chord. Now the cadence chords exercise that follows. The right hand is playing E, G, C, D, F, B, D, F, G, B, E, G, C. Next is G, C, E, and then G, B, D, F, and then G, C, E. Next we have C, E, G, B, D, F, G, C, E, G. So these are all just different inversions of the 1 chord and the 5-7 chord, also known as the G7 chord. And when we play it along with what left hand's playing, it'll sound like this. 1 and 2 and 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 1 and 2 and. All right, now at the bottom we get an arpeggio form. In other words, broken chord form of this chord that we can call G7th or 5-7 or dominant 7. And it shows you some right hand finger numbers and some left hand finger numbers, but hitting the same white keys. So we have right hand playing G, B, D, F, cross under G, B, D, F, G, F, D, B, G, cross over F, D, B, G. And the fingers I used for that were 1, 2, 3, cross under 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cross over 4, 3, 2, 1. And now I'll do left hand's version. Same note names, G, B, D, F, G, cross over B, D, F, G, B, D, F, G, F, D, B, G. I wonder if I said some of those note names wrong, but also I can't read the numbers quite right. So let me try it again. I'm going to say the note name, finger numbers. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cross over 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, cross under 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I said 1, I should have said 5. I temporarily changed accounting. But anyway, I played the correct notes each time. I was just saying some wrong things. All right, so it is worthwhile to play the cadence chords and the arpeggio form.